Spider-Man Homecoming is directed by John Watts and stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Michael Keaton, and Robert Downey Jr. This film, I just have to say right now, it's good. I already recommend you guys watch it. I have my notes down here. I wrote it in the dark, so I'm going to try my best to read my own notes from the film. Alright? So first off, the movie starts off with the logos, of course, and the Marvel Studio logo, which they use the most epic song, which I'm going to call the Spider-Man MCU theme. Right? Let me just tell you, it's awesome. I wish I could play a little part for you guys, but I'm afraid I'll probably get copyright striked or copyright claimed, and I don't want that. So, for the sake of you guys, I'll probably just leave a link in the description so you can go hear the song yourself. And what else? I'm filming this right after I just left the theater. I just got back home from watching Spider-Man, and I'm filming this now. So I'm sweating because it's freaking hot outside. I'm not sure exactly how much degrees. I have my phone here as well. You know, I'll probably need this for some reason. I don't know honestly, but we're gonna use the notes mostly because this is where I wrote in pen. Everything that I need for this film, right? So, if you see me looking down, by the way, because I'm looking at the notebook here. Anyways, Spider-Man Homecoming starts off with the Vulture, or Adrian Toomes, finding an Avengers drawing by, I guess, like a little kid, and then he's, him and a group of his, they're not bad yet, but they're like a kind of cleanup group, I guess. They're cleaning up the mess from the first Avengers film after the whole Chitauri attack and all that. They're cleaning up all the Chitauri, technology, I guess you can say. And then after that, it's 8 years later, after the whole Avengers event. So this film takes place 8 years after the Avengers. So it cuts to, it skips 8 years in the future, and it's Peter's basically kind of homemade videos, I guess, on his phone that he records. He records his way to Germany, from Civil War and all that. And basically, they showed this in some trailers. If you watched all the trailers, which I made the big mistake of doing, you'll know this. But if you don't, it's kind of like he's on his cell phone, and first it's showing him already in his hotel at Germany, and he's putting on the whole homemade suit, and Happy tells him about the suitcase with the new tech suit, or the Iron Spider, I guess you can say, if you want to call it that, right? Then it's Peter again, before the whole taking the Cap's shield from Civil War, and then he cuts the video, or his video there, and then it continues again when Ant-Man turns into Giant Man and all that. So, again, really cool. And after the homemade videos, we're left with Peter getting dropped off at his house with Aunt May. And then we have this whole little kind of scene, like multiple scenes where Peter's in school, his average everyday life, and I like the aspect that they were going for. They're not only doing a superhero movie like they usually do with Iron Man and Captain America, stuff like that, but they're also, doing a story that tells you the struggle Peter has in school, whether it's with his crush, the schedule of having to be Spider-Man and, a regular boy, his crush again, and then he has to deal with Flash Thompson, Flash Thompson got mostly, negative feedback because people thought that it wasn't the Flash Thompson from Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi one, or the Amazing Spider-Man, which he only came out, for a minute or two. I like the new Flash. I think what they did was they kind of made Flash not into an aggressive bully, because there aren't that much. More of a bully who makes fun of Peter, for, I guess, his lifestyle and whatnot, and, just for the heck of it, just for fun, he decides to bully Peter and just make fun of him. And, he even gives Peter this name in the movie, and it's Penis Parker. At first I thought he was calling him Petus. I'm like, wait, what? And then I found out it was Penis Parker. So, he's basically just giving him these dumb nicknames and whatnot, alright? And after it shows us, Peter in high school and all that, and his school life, it shows what his life as Peter Parker, it then shows his life as Spider-Man. Basically, him doing little deeds and helping until until at the end of all those good deeds, like the smaller deeds, we cut to the high-tech bank robbery where there's these guys with Avenger masks, and they have all this like Chitauri tech, and they're basically robbing all these ATMs and whatnot. Now, there are some lines from the trailer, like Spider-Man saying, "You guys aren't the real Avengers," and like the robbers look up at him. That line was not in the movie, so I'm assuming that line was only for the trailers, or they switched the lines, because he does say something different. I didn't write down exactly what he says. I have little time to write this, especially in the damn dark in the theater. The only lighting being the movie screen, so that was hard to do. Anyways, again, as I was saying, the lines are switched, and Peter's favorite sub shop, his like place where you get his sandwiches at, it gets blown up, right? And he has to save the owner who he's friends with. So then we go back the next day, and Peter's in school again, and he later that night, my bad, I'm getting confused, I'm trying to remember. Peter goes back home, right? If you haven't seen the trailer, there's a part where Peter crawls through his window and he's like on the ceiling. He goes down, Ned's in his room, and he drops the Lego Death Star, which was pretty much already completed, but he dropped it. I don't know why. So, Ned asks Peter whether Aunt May knows. Peter tells him obviously not, because she's already dealt with stuff in the past, which to me, I wrote this down as an Uncle Ben reference, I guess, because I'm pretty sure Uncle Ben in this universe already died. I'm not sure if they made it clear to us if he exists in this universe or not. I'm assuming he is, so I wrote that down as an Uncle Ben reference, but if it's not, well, Peter basically just doesn't want Aunt May to know, because she's already like dealing with stuff on her own, and he doesn't want to freak her out by, her knowing that people want to kill him every day. So, and here's something very surprising to me. I knew Shocker was going to be in this movie, except there's a twist. There's two Shockers, mainly because the first Shocker, which was friends with Adrian Toomes, he gets killed. And not on purpose, but on accident, because Vulture, or Adrian Toomes, whatever you want to call him, he basically shoots at Shocker. I'm going to call him Shocker 1.0, because there are two versions of Shocker. He shoots at Shocker 1.0, and he thought it was the gravity gun, but it was a disintegration gun made by one of Adrian Toomes' other friends. I forgot his name. It's hard to remember these people's names sometimes, because they aren't mentioned that much. It was a kind of disintegration gun using the Chitauri technology, which is basically what, Vulture lives off of. He makes weapons and whatnot out of the Chitauri technology, and then he basically sells them on the black market into others. Now, here's a little cool thing, just a little side note. There is a scene where Peter's at Liz's house party with Ned, and they're planning to do this whole like Peterson Spider-Man, not in the party but like outside, and comes in and tells everybody that he's best friends with Peter Parker and whatnot, because nobody believes him about knowing Tony Stark and being friends with Spider-Man, because Ned basically blew it that Peter knows Spider-Man, but he didn't say anything about Peter being Spider-Man. It's this whole thing. So, yeah, Peter sees these explosions from, the Chitauri weaponry, the custom Chitauri weaponry, I guess. So he goes to investigate, and Shocker 1.0 and Shocker 2.0, before 2.0 turns into actual Shocker. I'm not sure what his actual name is, by the way. So, they're both selling guns to another character who is played by... I forgot. I'll probably just edit that in, and edit this out. I don't know. But I forgot the actor's name. I literally had it in my hand and I forgot to write it down too. But apparently, according to some stuff on the internet, he is playing the uncle or cousin of Miles Morales. So apparently, Miles Morales is in the MCU now and whatnot. So that'll be pretty cool. But anyways. So, Spider-Man, right, he finds Vulture again after Vulture goes after him, because, they call in Vulture, I guess, to help with Spider-Man's Spider-Man's chasing the van. They're in with all the Chitauri weaponry. Vulture comes in, swoops in, and here's the thing. People, not in my theater, but people on the internet were wondering, how come Spider-Man's Spidey sense wasn't, active when Vulture was swooping behind him? I'm not sure for this, honestly. I was also kind of wondering where Spider-Man's Spidey sense is. I don't know if it exists in the MCU or not. Probably not, though, if anything. If it does, it's probably not like a big thing like in Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi one, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So yeah, they're fighting, right? This is where Iron Man shows up, but not against Vulture or anything. I was hoping for like a Iron Man and Spider-Man team up on Vulture, and we didn't get one, which is quite disappointing in my opinion. So Spider-Man and Vulture do have multiple fights together though, which is a really good thing because there is action, but then again, we cut back multiple times to Peter Parker's life. Not Spider-Man's, Peter Parker's. When it's Spider-Man, it's usually having to do with stopping the Vulture, right? Alright. There's this scene where Vulture plans on, getting some more Chitauri weaponry to sell in the black market from these 3 trucks, right? And also in these trucks, I believe, this is what I wrote down, I believe when Spider-Man goes into the truck after Vulture escapes, and Spider-Man looks for stuff to escape the truck, and I believe what he pulled out was an Ultron head. I don't know why it would be, but I'm assuming it was an Ultron head. It kind of looked like it, but if not, it was probably, a Chitauri body part or something. So we get, later on, Spider-Man tracks down the Vulture, and this is where we get the whole ferry scene, in case you didn't see the trailer. It's where the Vulture causes the ferry to, split in half, and Iron Man comes in to help, and then he gets all mad at Peter Parker. So yeah, basically this whole Vulture versus Spider-Man on the ferry leads to Spider-Man then getting his tech suit taken away from Iron Man, and this was something that a lot of people, speculated about, whether Iron Man took the suit from him and then he went back to his homemade suit. That is what happens. Others thought that, he has like the homemade suit most of the time, and then he gets the tech suit towards the end. That wasn't the whole thing here. And here, I skipped a bunch of parts as well. I got too distracted in the movie at sometimes. But there is a twist, which I'll talk about in a little bit. No, you don't want to get to it right now. The rest is towards the end of the movie. Anyways, so Homecoming's coming up. Homecoming night. Peter Parker goes to Liz's house to go pick her up for homecoming. And this is where we get the big reveal. So, before I get into it, originally on the internet, there was a leak, which was apparent, thanks to the Spider-Man Homecoming, we now know that leak was fake, which said Michelle was the daughter of the Vulture. So people thought her name was Michelle Toombs. This isn't the case, however, because the Vulture is actually Liz's dad, which Liz, in case you don't know, is Peter's date to Homecoming. Because he tells her she likes him, and she already knew, and all this. So, they're going to Homecoming, right? And we find out that Vulture is Liz's dad. I was actually pretty surprised by this, because I thought Michelle was Vulture's daughter. So, the rest of my theater was also surprised about this. Anyways, Liz on the way to the Homecoming, basically the school, Liz, kind of mentions how Peter keeps disappearing, and Adrian Toombs, who's driving them to the school for their homecoming, he kind of starts guessing that Peter is Spider-Man, because all the times that his daughter is mentioning Peter runs off are the same times that Vulture seems to be doing something. So, basically, Vulture, once they get to the school, tells Liz to go ahead, and Vulture would give Peter the dad talk, and basically he pulls out a gun and tells Peter not to mess with his business again, or he'll kill Peter and everybody Peter loves. So then we get this, and we get the final climax, right? The final battle between Peter and Vulture. This final climax, in my opinion, was awesome, okay? First, we have Peter and Vulture fighting on the plane carrying Stark stuff over to the new Avengers house, I guess you can call it. Because, thanks to the whole, Chitauri battle, Tony sold the Avengers Tower, and he's relocating now, right? So, cleared that out of the way. Anyways, this plane is shipping all of Tony's stuff from the Avengers Tower over to the new Avengers, location, which is apparently upstate and whatnot. So, they're fighting on the plane, right? The plane ends up crashing with all the stuff inside, and the Vulture is only going after one thing, and that is the multiple arc reactors, which were from Iron Man from before that he made, because he had made multiples apparently. So that is what Vulture was going after the whole time. The plane crashes on the beach, and this is where we get the the second part of the final climax, where they're just on the beach. Now, this is where I thought Vulture was going to die, because Peter ends up yelling towards Vulture, which Vulture can't hear him because he's too busy being evil. But Peter yells to Vulture that his wings are going to explode, and they do. They blow up in midair, but Vulture makes it barely out alive. He could have died if Peter left him there, but Peter, being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that he is, he goes back in there and carries Vulture out instead of letting him die in there, right? Just kidding. But, so Peter pulls out Vulture anyways, and, puts him in a safe spot away from, most of the fire, the big spot of fire. And he ends up tying him up and leaves a note saying, "I caught the Vulture and sorry about your plane, Happy." So he leaves that note and he goes off. Then we get introduced to what I'm going to call the real Iron Spider suit, because it kind of looks like an Iron Man suit, but then has the same the same design as the tech suit, which looks pretty cool. But I'm assuming we're not going to see that suit until Infinity War, which I still am excited to see that. I'll probably see that in the theater as well. Post the review once I'm done with that, but I might not post a review for Thor or Black Panther. I'd probably just wait till those come out on DVD and watch them, because I like those movies are cool, but don't think I'm gonna watch them in theaters. Probably, might not though. So this is basically the end. Vulture gets put in prison, and he's having the whole trial, and Liz and her mother are leaving. So it's I guess for Peter it's supposed to be sad. If you're if you care so much, you'll probably be saddened by this. And this is where we get a big reveal towards the end. They need a new coach for this whole I forgot what the fuck it was called. Something for the school. It's like a group that Flash, Peter, Liz, and Ned and Michelle are in. So Michelle gets to be the new leader of their group, I guess. It's kind of like a group for their school thing. And they call her by her name, Michelle, and she says, she says her friends call her MJ. In case you don't know what that means, MJ, in the comics and in the Sam Raimi trilogy, MJ was the initials for Mary Jane. Now, this could mean Michelle's real name is Mary Jane. Could mean that, or it could mean that her first name is Michelle and her last name is J. That could be fine as well. Now, I don't mind Michelle or Zendaya's character being Mary Jane. I really don't have a problem with that. Others do for reasons, which I don't want to get into because then this can turn into a whole controversial review. So we get that, and then Peter goes back to his normal life, and here's something I want to talk about. Here's something I didn't expect, because in Civil War, Tony mentions that him and Pepper Potts were no longer together, but at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, Pepper Potts makes a cameo, and her and Tony get married. So it was a nice little surprise to see Pepper Potts back in the film, because I was expecting not to see her anymore since the whole mention about her and Tony breaking up. But they're back together apparently, so that was really nice to see. Really nice to see Iron Man and Pepper back together, and now they're married as well. So I wonder what emotional level this is gonna bring us if Iron Man dies in Infinity War. I'll make a whole separate video with my death predictions in that one. So the mid-credit scene, I wrote end credit scene and then crossed that off and put mid. But the mid-credit scene, there is a mid-credit scene and an end credit scene. I'll get into end credit scene in a little bit. The mid-credit scene is basically Vulture in prison, and Liz and Liz's mother go to visit him. So he's on his way towards the little room where they can visit him and whatnot, and he bumps into an old friend of his, which basically we thought died at the ferry. And this is what I'm guessing, or I wrote this down and I'm assuming this is correct. He bumps into his old friend that I mentioned, is Scorpion. Because he has a scorpion tattoo on his neck here, and then he's got like a whole scar right here from the ferry battle. And if he really is Scorpion, we might possibly, expect in Spider-Man 2, the sequel to Homecoming, we could expect the Vulture and Scorpion versus Spider-Man team up. And if Iron Man doesn't die, who knows, we'll probably have Spider-Man and Iron Man versus Scorpion and Vulture, which would be really cool in my opinion. We got 2v2, which sounds pretty cool in my head, but, MCU would probably make that, like, a fucking dream. So, yeah, and I guess because Spider-Man saved Vulture from the whole, crash, Vulture, or Scorpion asked Vulture if he really knows who Spider-Man is, if he knows that Spider-Man is Peter. Scorpion doesn't know who Spider-Man really is. Vulture does, but he pretends not to know. I guess it's kind of like I owe you for saving me. He basically doesn't reveal Spider-Man's identity, but he does know it. So that was basically the whole mid-credit scene. Shows us who I believe to be Scorpion, which is really cool. And the end credit scene, I put a question mark because I wasn't sure if there was going to be one. There is, right? And this, I just remember why I have my phone. Because I'm going to quote exactly what he said, because somebody, generous person on YouTube happened to quote exactly what Captain America said. But anyways, the end credit scene is basically Captain America talking about how patient we were for the end credit scene, right? And this is exactly what he says here. Hi, I'm Captain America. I'm here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have, patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder if why you waited so long for something so disappointing. And he asked, is that all? And that's where the end credit scene ends off. So it's an end credit scene, but it doesn't tease anything. The mid credit scene is basically the one that teases, the sequel to Spider-Man, or possibly Infinity War. We could also see Scorpion in there. But it depends what Marvel decides to do. It's up to them and Kevin Feige. So that was the end credit scene. The end credit scene teased anything I was expecting, like a Thor Ragnarok teaser, or maybe like a Black Panther teaser or whatnot. But hey, it's all cool. We get to find out Scorpion might be in the MCU, which is really nice because this could be hinting at an MCU Sinister Six with Spider-Man villains we haven't seen, probably like Vulture, which we recently saw in Spider-Man Homecoming, Lizard, Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, and some other Spider-Man villains. I'm not too I don't know all of the Spider-Man villains. I know most of them, but not all of them. So I'm not sure who else they could have in the MCU Sinister Six if we do get one. That would be pretty cool though. So my overall rating for Spider-Man Homecoming is an A. I would give this an A+, which is my highest rating. But this film does have its flaws here and there. And there are some surprising stuff in this film as well. I did give a spoiler review, as you know from the title, but I didn't spoil exactly everything because I don't want to tell you about the whole movie, because I would like you to go and watch the movie and, notice some stuff yourself instead of me telling you everything. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, remember to leave a like rating, comment down below letting me know if you've seen this film, if you plan to see it, and if you already saw it, let me know what's your rating for this, for Spider-Man Homecoming. And let me know some things that you thought should have been in the film, or some things you were glad were in the film. And subscribe if you're new to the channel. I don't do movie reviews all the time, but I will begin doing that, and soon I will reveal all of this behind me very, very soon, maybe tomorrow. Don't quote me on that, alright? I'll probably do it. Did you see that? I'll probably do it, you know, around maybe mid-July. I'll probably reveal this whole thing, which I've been dying to show you guys. You know, you guys finally got a snippet of what's here. Shit, I can't show that to you guys because that's private. I'll probably change that up once I reveal this whole room. But anyways, again, I give this film an A. I already said that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. I'm getting new to movie reviews. I will be doing fan films, I will be doing fan film reviews and official movie reviews such as Spider-Man Homecoming and whatnot. I might be planning to do a movie review on the It, reboot, because it seems like an interesting film, so I will watch it, hopefully. Don't quote me on that, alright? I know who's going to quote me on that. Don't you dare do it, please. So, I will be getting to this type of stuff soon, and also you can expect not too much gaming videos. I'm not a big fan of gaming anymore. I've started getting back into collecting Marvel Legends and figures and whatnot. So you can expect a lot more toy reviews pretty soon. I do have to find some of the new Spider-Man Homecoming wave, the Thor Ragnarok wave when it comes out, and the Marvel Knights wave. The Spider-Man and Mary Jane 2-pack, the Spider-Man and Vulture 2-pack, which other one is there? The Cyclops and Dark Phoenix 2-pack. Jesus Christ, dude, I have so much choice to review. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed today's review. If you did, remember, leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios!